Hello guys, and welcome back to the CCNA video series brought to you by ABY Design and Tech. In this video, we're going to have a look at how to configure static IP routes on your Cisco device. The learning objectives for this video are as follows: to understand how to configure static IP routes and to verify those routes once we have configured them. Now, to actually configure the IP routes or the static IP routes on our Cisco device, we use the global configuration mode command IP route, IP address, subnet mask, and then we either specify the outgoing interface or the next hop IP address. Now, when we use this command, if we're going to configure a static route which forces traffic out of a point-to-point link, so a point-to-point link is where we have one router which connects to another router, then we can specify either the outgoing interface or the next hop IP address. However, if we define a static IP route which points to force traffic out of multi-point interface, so a multi-point interface is an interface where a router can reach many other routers at that single interface, then you're going to want to specify the next hop IP address. The reason being is because if not, then we get issues with ARP. So we get all these fun and games with ARP in that your router will actually send an ARP request looking for the MAC address associated with the destination IP address of the packet, and then traffic will not get to where it needs to get to. So for a multi-point interface, specify the next hop. However, for a point-to-point interface, you can use either next hop or outgoing interface. And obviously we can verify the routing table to make sure our static routes are in there with the show IP route command. Now, this is the network that we're going to be using for a lab demonstration. As you can see, we've got R1, R2, and R3. And our goal is to configure static routing so that Rick can speak to Morty and Rick can speak to Jerry. So now I'm going to pause the video. The next time you see my screen, I shall be at the command line interface of a Cisco router. Hello guys, so welcome back. I'm now at the command line interface of R1. And if you guys were just wondering, to actually set up this lab, I'm currently using GNS3, so I've got my routers configured, and my hosts, Rick, Morty, and Jerry, all they are just routers that have been turned to hosts, and to do that, we just turn off IP routing. So before I do anything else, let me just verify the current state of the routing table on R1. So we use the show IP route command, and as you can see, R1 only knows about its directly connected network, so in this case 172.16.10/24, and also its point-to-point links 192.168.10/30 and 192.168.14/30. So now I need to configure the static IP routes so that I can tell this router, okay, R1, if you want to speak to Morty, then use R2. If you want to speak to Jerry, then use R3. So to do this, I navigate to global configuration mode, and I simply just use the command IP route. And we can use the question mark to help us out with this. So we can specify the destination prefix or destination network, in this case 172.16.2.0, and then we specify the prefix mask in decimal format. So in this case, this would just be the subnet mask, which is associated with the network. In this case, 255.255.255.128. And then I can either specify the outgoing interface or the next hop IP address. In this case, I will specify the next hop IP address, which will be 192.168.1.2. Now I need to configure my second IP route so that I can reach Jerry through R3. So in this case, let me just use this one again. We change this to 128. The subnet mask will be the same. And in this case, I'm going to specify the outgoing interface as FA21. So that's Fast Ethernet 2.1. Okay, so now that we've configured the static routes on R1, let's verify that by using the show IP route command. And as you can see, we have two extra routes to reach the 172.16.20/25 network and the 172.16.2.128/25 network. And as you can see, they're both static routes, and we can verify their static routes because you can see the S symbol next to the route itself. So C means connected, S means static. And to only display the static routes in the IP routing table, we can use the command show IP route, static with a static keyword, and that will show us all of our static routes. So now let's go over to Rick and see if Rick can ping Morty. So guys, I'm now at the command line interface of Rick. Let me see if I can ping Morty. So ping 172.16.2.50. Okay, Abda, how come that ping is failing? Why can't I reach Morty? And so this is the reason why Rick cannot ping Morty yet. Because so far we've only trained R1 on how to reach the 172.16 20/25 subnet, and we've only trained R1 on how to reach Jerry. So traffic is making it all the way to Morty. However, when Morty tries to respond back, traffic isn't making it back because R2 doesn't yet know how to reach Rick. So now we have to jump over to R2 and configure a static IP route on R2 so that it can now communicate back with Rick. Okay, so now we're back onto R2. Let me issue the command short IP route just to verify the routing table, and as you can see, no static route. I don't know how to reach the 172.16.10/24 network here. So now to do this, I just go into global configuration mode, and I issue the command IP route 172.16.1.0, specify the subnet mask as 255.255.255.0, and I can specify either the outgoing interface or next hop. In this case, I will just use the next hop IP address, which is 192.168.1.1. And so now to verify that, let's go back and you look at my routing table. And as you can see, R2 now has a static route where it says to reach the 172.16.10/24 subnet, please send this traffic to R1 next. So now let's jump over to Rick and verify that Rick can indeed ping Morty's IP address. Okay, so we're back on Rick. Let's make sure that Rick can ping Morty's IP address. So we issued the command ping 172.16.2.50. And as you can see, Rick can now ping Morty's IP address. And now that R1 has a route to that entire subnet, I could even ping the IP address associated with R2's interface, which connects directly to Morty. And as you can see, I get a response back because I can ping anybody in that network because R1 has a route to that entire network. This is known as a network static route. Okay, Abda. So you said that we've just configured a network static route. Well, what other static routes are there? There's also something known as a host static route. So that is a route to a single device's IP address. So just a route. So instead of defining a route to an entire network, we define a route which says that to reach this individual device, use this next hop or use this outgoing interface. So now let's verify that. Let's actually configure a host route, a host static route. So in this case, let me just remove the current static route that I have towards Morty's network. So let me do a do show run, and then we can use the pipe to include IP route. So this will display all of my IP route commands in my running configuration. Let me just take away this guy for now. So no. Okay, that's taken away. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to reconfigure a host static route pointing only towards Morty's IP address. So in this case, IP route 172.16.2.50, and we specify a 255.255.255 subnet mask. So in this case, this subnet mask only allows for a single IP address, and then we specify the next hop as being 192.168.1.2. So now if I go over, look at my routing table, look at my static routes, as you can see, I now have a route to reach this single IP address. So this says that if you want to reach the device with this IP address, send your traffic to this next hop next. And we know this is a host route because it has a prefix mask of a /32, which just means a single IP address. This is a network route because we have a subnet mask which is not a /32. In this case, it's a /25, which tells me to reach the devices in this network, use this outgoing interface. So now let's go over to Rick and verify that he can ping Morty, but now he cannot ping R2's interface IP address. Okay, so we're back at Rick. Now let's just try to ping Morty and verify that we can ping him. 2.50. As you can see, that go through. However, if I try to ping now R2's interface IP address, as you can see, the pings fell, and essentially this just says that it's not reachable because R1 does not have a route to reach to reach R2's interface IP address for the 172.16.20/25 subnet. Now that we have reachability between Rick and Morty, let's configure the reachability between Rick and Jerry. And to do this, we have to go into R3 and configure a route on R3 to point towards the 172.16.10/24 subnet. Okay, so now we're on R3. We go into global configuration mode. We issue the command IP route. In this case, it says to reach 172.16.10. Okay, and the subnet mask of 255.255.255.0. I have to use my next hop, which is going to be 192.168.1.5. To verify this, we can use the command show IP route. As you can see, I now have static route on R3 that says to reach Rick's subnet, use my node stop, which is going to be R1. So now let's jump back to Rick and verify that he can ping Jerry. Okay, so we're back on Rick. Let's verify that he can ping Jerry. We issue the command ping 172.16.2.200. And as you can see, I can ping Jerry successfully. So we have just configured static IP routes to allow Rick to ping Morty and Rick to ping Jerry. And now we have end-to-end reachability between our sites. However, with static IP routes, we have to tell the routers on how to reach every single network that they don't have a direct connection to. So now, I'm going to go over to Morty and prove to you guys that from Morty, I can't ping Jerry. Okay, so now we're on Morty. If I try to ping Jerry's IP address, so ping 172.16.2.200, as you can see, the pings fail. The reason being is because R2, which is Morty's default gateway, he does not have a route on how to reach the 172.16.2.128/25 network, because we haven't trained him. We have to teach him, saying that, look, if you want to reach this subnet, reach this network, then you have to use R1, but we haven't done that yet. So just to go over and recap, we have configured reachability between Rick and Morty and Rick and Jerry. Okay guys, so we have reached the end of this video, and in this video we've looked at how to configure static routes on our Cisco devices and how to verify those static routes. So again, just to recap, with static routes you have to essentially tell the router how to reach every network it doesn't already have a direct connection to. And so in our example, we saw that we configured reachability between Rick and Morty and Rick and Jerry. However, because we hadn't configured the necessary routes on R2 and R3, Rick could not ping Morty. Morty could not ping Jerry, and Jerry could not ping Morty. If you found this video useful and would like to see more content like this, then please subscribe to my channel, and thank you very much for watching.